Welcome back, Sober Family. This is another episode of Recovery Talk brought to you by none other than Pro Recovery Power. A few announcements before we get started with today's live show. Again, we have our website that's up. It's brand new. Check out our brand new website at prorecoverypower.com. You can see what we're all about. It's Pro Recovery Power is more than a YouTube page. Recovery clothing, it's much more than that. Also, another reminder, at every Wednesdays, we have our own meeting. It's a non-denominational meeting. It's Wednesdays at 7 p.m. And it's basically like a 12-step meeting. However, all fellowships, all support groups are welcome to this. And I would like to thank everybody again for, you guys continued prayer, love, and support for me and my family. This time when we're grieving the loss of my mom. I am doing really well. I go up and down sometimes with my emotions, but nothing's gonna stop me from carrying this message. It's not, God just basically solidified it for me in my heart that, now my mom is gone and I still got this passion for helping people. Like this fire just is roaring up even more in me. And this is something my mom wanted me to continue to do, like I've been saying, just because, tragedies, traumatic events, they come to visit us at our house. God don't call a timeout and say, whoa, Alika not feeling good, guys. Everybody, hang on. Let's wait till he feels better. Okay, now you're good. Go carry the message. No, it doesn't work that way. And I understand that. And that's why I'm so glad I'm built up my foundation with him. And also in my recovery program, all the love and support, everything I've learned from all these people that God put in my life that has really helped me to where I am today in my life. And doing these live shows, man, I love doing these things. So today, you guys, I got my friend Jen on. So I can get her on here in a second. Hi, Jill. Sorry, I never read it, everybody's comments and stuff. Hey, guys. Thank you, guys. So Jen is going to be here. I knew Jen for, I don't know, like 2 years, 3 years, something like that. And there she is. And she has a great story to tell. She really does. So I'm really excited about it. She said she's nervous, but it'll pass. It's all good. But I'm really excited for all of you guys to hear her story as well. So without further ado, let me get her on. 1 second. There she is.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Jen, how's it going? Hey,
It's good.
your face is frozen right now. Okay, there you go. Now I can see you.
Okay.
There you go. How's it going?
It's good. How are you doing?
All right. I'm hanging in there, man. Like, every day I can smile bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Oh man, honestly, it's the power of God working in my life, man. Honestly, if I still was actively drinking and using, the death of my mom would have probably been the death of me. Like, whether it would have been intentionally or unintentionally, I probably would have drank myself to death or overdose or something like that. Because
Hmm.
I had no options. I didn't know how else to cope with anything. Drugs and alcohol was always my solution for every single problem that I had. But I know I asked you a while back, if you want to go live. And I know you kind of, put it off for a little while, but I'm glad that, what you're doing, you're stepping out of your comfort zones. And something that I've learned in recovery is that that's where growth happens. It never happens inside our comfort zone. It always happens outside, you
Yeah.
know. So thank you so much, for agreeing to do this, and sharing your message, man. I've heard it a bunch of times. And I think, people all around the world, especially with, COVID happening, a lot of people, they didn't have the same resources like that we had when we first got sober, because a lot of things were shut down. And this is just another outlet, for people who are still struggling with drugs and alcohol, with addictions. Another outlet for them that maybe they can be reached, like another, we throw another life vest out there, for
Yeah.
somebody. If they want to grab it, then, we can be of service to them, we can help them. But, I literally just got home. Like I just talked to you a second ago.
Yeah.
And because we're planning my mom's service in Hawaii. So it was kind of running behind, but like one thing my mom taught me, I mean, there's so much things, honestly, but is my mom taught me by her example to when you say you're gonna do something, stay committed, be committed to it. Like I'm committed to doing these live shows and everything, showing up for my own recovery. Like I don't necessarily count this as being part of my own personal recovery, but it is something that I really love to do. Like you know that about me. I
Yeah.
love carrying this message to other people, and I love to give people a platform to share their story with the world, with people, all over the place. Because, addiction don't discriminate. Don't matter where you are on the planet. And the good
Mm-mm.
thing about social media, you can reach anybody, literally at any part of the whole entire world. So I'm really excited, to hear you again. But before we get started, Jen, I'll ask you some questions, just real basic
Yep.
questions, kind of warm you up a little bit.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So, how long have you been sober right now?
A little over 18 months.
All right. That's a big
Thank
deal,
you.
man. I remember when 18 seconds was a struggle. Oh my goodness. You know.
Right.
Um, and then, okay, the next question is, where are you from?
Rancho Cucamonga, California.
All right. I know you live right up the road from me right now.
Right? Like
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then what was your choice in drink and or drug?
I like to do anything and everything that was put in front of me.
Oh, more. Oh, yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, then. So at this time, I will give you the
Thank you.
floor to tell us your story. So go ahead.
Awesome. Well, my name is Jennifer, and I'm an alcoholic, and I'm just going to do this like I would do this in the meetings that I attend. And I give thanks to God because without Him, none of this would be possible.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good childhood. I grew up in a family that was together, and we only knew love and support. Um, and it felt so normal and right, you know. And then one day, my household came crashing down, and my dad stood at the front door, blocking it for me and my sister, and saying that he was going to leave. And I was in the third grade, and that's the first time in my life where I felt that beautiful feeling of being not good enough and
Mm,
easily discarded because I wasn't enough for him to stay. That's where it started for me. I didn't know that my first addiction was going to be attention and love. I
mhm,
didn't know that my first addiction was going to be the need for people to show me that they loved me and cared for me.
yeah.
And by the time I was 11, I had already experienced drinking. I had been smoking for a little bit. I experienced my first drug, right? It was free on from an air conditioner because it was
Mhm,
it was just something easy accessible, and someone said that it made them feel different. And I said, "Hey, you know what? I want to feel different."
mhm,
Fast forward a little bit, I'm 14 years old. I'm hanging out with, my best friends. They're showing me that I'm a part of this group.
mhm,
And I've already been drinking at this time enough to know what drunk is and what too drunk is.
mhm,
And smoking some weed, doing some pills, and then methamphetamines get introduced to me on a Christmas Eve night. And man, did we get a lot of money for Christmas. So we sure spent all the money that we had on meth. And
mhm,
my whole outlook on life changed. It was like, holy shit,
mhm.
this stuff is amazing. I'm about it. And man, I did it. And I did it all the time whenever I could. Because when I put that substance into my body had this reaction that I didn't know what it was called.
Mhm.
And I didn't know it was a disease. And I had no idea that I wouldn't be able to stop. Also, also around the age of 14, 15, I experienced rape. And it
Mhm.
was the first time I was introduced to sex. And this experience caused me to land in the hospital and learn that I had what was called an ectopic pregnancy and that I would never have children. That's what the doctors told me. And I left that hospital having to tell my mom and my dad this lie that I had a beautiful, amazing experience with my first time ever having sex and I had been raped. And I kept that a secret because I was ashamed and I
Mhm.
didn't know what was going on. And I also left that hospital thinking for the rest of my life I would never have any children. And you know what that did for the addict in me? Is it made it possible for me to use how I wanted to use. So I did that. And I used meth for a very long time, all day,
Mhm.
every day. And I put myself in situations that were dangerous. And I did whatever I could to get high. mind you, I tried having a job. I tried dating the dealer. I even
Mhm.
dated a couple cooks, and I just did whatever I could.
Yep.
Demoralizing ass shit.
Mhm.
Because you know what? Getting high was more important to me than my life. It
Yeah.
was more important to me than my image. It actually became more important for me to get high than to have anybody love me or care for me or want me around.
Mhm.
And mind you, when I was a child, that's what I chased after. I chased
Yeah.
after your love and attention. But this drug, when I put it into my body, took all of that from me. It took my whole soul.
Mhm.
I'm 19 years old and I meet a man and I'm like, this is the one, right?
Mhm.
And a couple months later, I find out I'm pregnant, and I'm like, no, there's no way, right? And
Uh-huh.
at this time, I'm using enough methamphetamines that the doctor tells me if you stop abruptly, you will probably miscarry this child that you're not even supposed to have. So you know what that did? In my
Mhm.
mind, it was like I have a hall pass.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you what it's like to know that you're carrying a child that you were never supposed to have, a blessing, that you never ever expected, and to not be able to put down your drug.
Mhm.
I don't even know how to describe it other than powerlessness.
Mhm.
And I had my daughter and I was clean for a little bit, about 3 months, and I went back.
Mhm.
I wasn't done. I didn't know I didn't think that I wouldn't be able to stop again. I was like, I stopped when I was pregnant. I'll be able to stop at any time. I just need this to help me out because I got to start working again.
Right.
And shortly thereafter, I was robbed at gunpoint in my parents' home with my daughter in the next room. And the day after, I had to give my daughter to her dad, and I got put into a recovery center.
Mhm.
And this recovery center uh, taught me about the 12 steps. It took me to meetings. Um, it gave me a really great resentment towards recovery and the process in which was saving other people's lives, because it
Mhm.
wasn't saving mine. I still wanted to use.
Yeah.
And when I left recovery, guess what I did? I moved into another sober person's home. And shortly thereafter, I was introduced to cocaine. And mind you, I'd done cocaine a little bit here and there, but I wasn't doing meth anymore. So I wanted to do as much cocaine as I could so that I could feel like I was high on meth. And
Mhm.
that's freaking really hard to do. And in about 3 months, I lost the job that I just got. I lost the home I was living in, and I had nothing. I
Mhm.
had nothing. So, you know what I did is I started using meth. I moved in with this dude that used to think it was real fun to physically abuse me.
Mhm.
And I let him beat my ass for months so that I could still get high.
Mhm.
Um, the only thing that stopped this course of action in my life was I ended up dating the man that raped me.
Mhm.
Cute, right?
Wow.
Really fun in my addiction, the choices that I would make just so I could get one. And we were in a house that these people came into, and I ended up being a witness to a murder. And I watched a man lose his life, and I watched my boyfriend get shot in the face.
Mhm.
And I woke up with the cops dragging me out of a house and taking me in, and that landed me in jail.
Mhm.
And that saved my life. I got arrested on December 12th of 2007.
Mhm.
And on December 24th, when I called my daughter from the jail cell and she called me mama for the first time,
Mhm.
my insides broke and my powerlessness was put in front of my face and the willingness to stop was put there.
Mhm.
And from that moment, I was like, I'm never touching meth again. I'm never doing this drug. I should not be sitting in a jail cell hearing my daughter call me mama for the first time.
Mhm.
And so I got out and I stayed off meth, and I drank occasionally, a little bit, it's not meth, so it's fine.
Mhm.
It's not meth, it's not going to ruin my life.
Uh-huh.
Hooked up with my daughter's dad again, and guess what? We have a son now.
Mhm.
And tried to stay in this relationship. I tried, you know, and I was broken. I had nothing to give anybody else, let alone myself, because I still didn't know how to love myself. I still didn't know I could. I didn't know I was worth it, and I battled with that for years. So fast forward, I'm thinking everything's hunky dory. I'm no longer with my kid's dad. I'm I'm living at my parents' house. I'm able to work. I have a job. You know, I got a car. Like things are good. So then I just drink a little more. And then I drink some more. And I drink so much that I land myself at bars almost every night. And I meet a man, and this man and I decide that we want to date each other. And then we move in together, and then we go to raves together. And now I'm drinking and doing ecstasy and
Mhm.
acid and mushrooms, but it's not meth. I don't
Mhm.
have a problem. I don't. No way. Me,
Mhm.
problem? Not so much. Until every time I drank, I blacked out,
Mhm.
right? But I'm not drinking like the alcoholics that I
Yeah.
think are alcoholics, right?
Uh-huh.
The ones who need a 36 beers at the end of the day to be able to go to sleep. I'm not drinking like them. I'm binge drinking. People are allowed to do this. I can blow off steam.
Right.
So the him that I took hostage, I had to leave. It wasn't
Mhm.
working. He was way too much of a drug addict for me to stick with.
Mhm.
And I found myself moving out into my own place for the first time as an adult, living with my children. And they would go to their dad's every other weekend. And on those every other weekends, I would do whatever I wanted. And that meant binge drinking all of the time. And
Mhm.
for me, what that looks like, I like to call it time traveling.
Yeah.
I all of a sudden wake
Mhm.
up in a new spot, don't know who I'm with or where I'm at.
Mhm.
And it was fine. And I thought I was safe and I thought everything was going to be okay, you know? And I remember the last drink I had. Well, the last drunk. I can't actually remember the last drink because I blacked out pretty early, but it was on a
Right.
Sunday and it was at a brunch. And I was around people that are my friends. And from 4:30 when we got there, I remember about 30 minutes.
Mhm.
So around 5 to 5 a.m., I have no idea what I was doing.
Mhm.
I'm going to take it back just a little bit. The moment when I was realizing that I had a problem with methamphetamines, I had looked in the mirror and I had seen myself, and I'm looking at this person, the reflection, and I see in my eyes nothing. I don't see a soul. I just see something staring back at me. I have no idea what this thing is that I'm looking at, but it's not me.
Mhm.
And that same experience happened to me at 5 a.m. in the morning when I rolled out of a stranger's bed, went into this hotel bathroom, and I looked at myself and I was like, who are you?
Mhm.
Because I had lost myself again. Now, mind you, I had a car, I had a house, my kids live with me. I'm going to be starting a new job that Monday, right? That I don't show
Mhm.
up to because I got blacked out the night before. So I didn't really lose anything. I didn't get locked up this time, you know. I wasn't
Mhm.
beat to shit and it was just that look in the mirror that that's all it took because I recognized that I lost myself again. And I was allowing myself to continue to drink and to use whatever I could because I wanted to not be in my own skin. And I didn't know I had all of these things missing inside of me. And this was the only solution that I had. And I got home, right? I figured out where my car was. I figured out where I was. First of all, I
Mhm.
was in LA and I live in Rancho Cucamonga and I had
Mhm.
no idea where my car was. And I get taken to my car. I drive back home. I am supposed to start my new job and I get a call at my current job uh, asking me, hey, why are you home? You're supposed to be at work right now, you know? And, but can you come and help me do something? And I said, yeah, I'll come help you. And this guy said, why aren't you at your new job? You know? And some took control of my mouth and said, I was out all night last night. I blacked out. I woke up this morning in LA. I didn't know where I was. And I don't know what to do. And
Mhm.
he said, well, I got a meeting you can go to.
Mhm.
And on August 26th of 2019, I went to my first AA meeting
Mhm.
and I saw these women in there that were all dressed up and they looked nice. And I looked like shit because I was hungover and I was sick and I was wearing sweatpants and a nasty sweatshirt and I didn't shower. I looked like shit, no makeup. And they hugged me and they welcomed me.
Mhm.
And that was the first time in a long time where a stranger showed me love and kindness. And I had no idea that I was missing that. I had these friends in my life, these people that I went and drank with, and these people that I would call when things were going weird or things were going good. And I always thought that these were my people. Little did I know I would find more comfort in the arms of a stranger at an AA meeting than I did with these people that I was getting blackout drunk with.
Mhm.
And that was the start of my recovery. And I jumped into those meetings, and I kept going, and I kept showing up, and I just was desperate to not die anymore. I was desperate enough that I could finally just be like, listen, something is wrong and I don't know what it is, but it needs to change.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to lie and say that I was going to these meetings to completely stop. I'm not going to say that, because I literally was just like, I need to slow down.
Yeah.
Pump the brakes. Jen's getting a little crazy. Like, her kids are starting to notice stuff is off. Like, people in her life are starting to know things are a little different. You know, when your family starts asking you if something's wrong, and they don't know what it is, like, something's wrong, you know?
Right.
And I really thought I was going to be able to control my drinking. And it wasn't until I got in front of another person in these rooms and went through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous that that um, I realized that I couldn't control anything,
Mhm.
not just my drinking and using, but my whole life. I couldn't tell you what it was like to do my steps the first time. It was like this mind altering experience. Like, holy shit,
Mhm.
you know, like
Yeah.
that step one. I kind of like grazed over it my first time, because I really was still trying not to admit that I was an alcoholic. I was like, nah,
Right.
I'm not like these people. You know, these people
Mhm.
lost a lot of shit. I could still manage. I could still have a job. You know, I wasn't locked up. I didn't get a DUI.
Mhm.
I kept convincing myself that I wasn't one of you guys, you know?
Mhm.
And that portion of my recovery was really rough for me.
Mhm.
I um I was highly emotional and feeling all these new feelings, and no one warned me that when you started feeling feelings and you actually like went through them, how hard that would be on me. Like,
Yeah.
I never knew that it was going to be so mentally exhausting, and that I was going to have to go through a lot of different things. Like you were saying earlier, you don't grow when you're comfortable. And
Mhm.
holy shit, was I uncomfortable,
Mhm.
right? I was
Mhm.
still dealing with trying to be sure that everybody liked me and that I
Mhm.
was accepted everywhere and that I wasn't doing anything to piss people off at the expense of myself and my recovery, you know?
Mhm.
And I just I finally broke. You know,
Mhm.
I had been without a sponsor for a little bit, and I was taking myself through the book because I'd been through it already, and I was like, I could do this a little bit for myself. No, I don't need a sponsor. I don't need any outside help, you know. And I was struggling, and I was spiritually sick,
Mhm.
and it was causing me to question every relationship in my life. You
Mhm.
know, my relationship with my higher power that I was just starting to get back, my relationship with people that I care for, my family members. I was just in a shit show
Mhm.
of emotion. And I reached out to a gentleman in these rooms who gave me a phone number for this amazing, beautiful woman who is now my sponsor,
Mhm.
who took me through my first step in such a way where I finally was like, oh fuck. Excuse my language, but like, I am a real alcoholic. Like, I don't know why it was I was almost a year, right? Almost a year, and finally did a thorough step one. And and it was like literally this light bulb went off, and I was like, no wonder, right? No wonder
Yeah.
I was going through all this crazy stuff. I wasn't willing to admit that I had a problem all the way. I was only just like stepping on the line, but I didn't want to go over it. And I didn't want to admit to myself or to anybody else. You know, I had family members tell me, you're not an alcoholic.
Mhm.
And I'm like, yeah, sure. Cool. Um, you know what, you might be right. I'm probably not. I just like really don't know how to manage my drinking. But if you're a real alcoholic like I am, there's no fun in managing it. There's no fun in
No.
controlling it. Like,
No.
let me get my drink on and let me get as drunk as I want to, because the end goal for me is to black out.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if I say I don't like it, like that's the end goal. That's
Mhm.
how I stop. I don't
Mhm.
stop because it's time to go home. I don't stop because the bar's about to close. And I sure as hell don't stop because someone who loves me is telling me, maybe you should slow down. No, I stop when I'm blacked out.
Yeah.
And this program that I'm in allows for me to stay stopped,
Mhm.
right? It allows for me to have a 24-hour period where I am not consumed by wanting to go get drunk, and I'm not consumed about wanting to get high. I am literally not consumed by my thoughts anymore. And the only way that that worked for me was because I got into the work that's outlined in the big books of Alcoholics Anonymous. Like,
Mhm.
that book has saved my life. Sitting across the table from more than just one sponsor
Mhm.
has saved my life.
Mhm.
And how that looks for me today is that I get the opportunity to share my story, and I get the opportunity to tell people that,
Mhm.
yeah, you could be a victim of rape, or yeah, you could have a problem and get locked up. You could see someone murdered. You could literally decide to sleep on a park bench alone and cold and not want to go to any home that's offered to you because you would rather get high. That could be your story, and it doesn't have to stay your story.
Mhm.
It doesn't. Like, at the end of the day, I finally know that I love myself, right?
Mhm.
Because during that whole time, during my using and drinking career, I never felt good enough to love my own, like, my own skin, my own thoughts, anything about myself. And the only way that I love myself today is because I love my higher power who works in my life. And that connection didn't happen without doing some work. And that light that turns on when you are across the table from another suffering addict and alcoholic, and you're working in the book and you're doing these steps, that light saves my life. The opportunity to call anybody that's in my phone right now. It could be 2 o'clock in the morning, and I could be just having one of those days where I cannot stop these thoughts in my head, the
Mhm.
crazy thoughts that still pop up. And I could call someone 2 a.m. and they answer the phone and they say, hey, how's it going? And
Mhm.
they take me out of myself like that.
Yeah.
um, I think the biggest thing that has helped me through this process is finally letting go of the thought that I have to be what everybody else wants me to be.
Mhm. Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, I think the biggest thing
Ooh.
is learning that I don't need you to like me, and I don't need you to accept my story, and I don't need you to hear anything that I have to say.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, the only thing in this world that matters to me is how my higher power views me. And at the end of the day, when I put my head on the pillow and I'm still sober,
Mhm.
and I'm not sitting there worried about the next drink or the next high. All I'm worried about is closing out my day and praying to my higher power and just saying, you know what? Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, because without that connection and without everything that I've been through, I'd be dead somewhere.
Mhm.
My kids would be without a mother. My family would be without a daughter and a sister, and I would just be gone, because that's where my life would take me if I didn't decide to just have a little bit of willingness, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
and show up and do the damn thing. And another thing is that you have to actually work at it. You can't just
There you go.
right? You can't just
Uh-huh.
sit. You can't just sit in this seat in a meeting and just chill and be like, I'm fine today. No, because that will kill an alcoholic like me.
Yeah, I heard people say, you heard them say this too. They say, needy makers don't make it.
Right?
Yeah,
You
it's
know what
funny.
though? Like, it might help a little bit, right?
Yeah,
It
it
might help you
helps.
for that day. Like, I'm not saying like don't go to a
Mhm.
meeting. I'm just
Yeah,
saying like that can't be all that for me. That's not all that I have to do.
yeah,
For
me
my
too.
recovery, I can't do that.
Hmm.
Because I'll go out drinking on a resentment I get in a meeting because someone will share something that I feel like is directed at me. And now all of a sudden this meeting that I'm depending on has caused me to go drink.
Yeah,
Ugh,
yeah,
I'm good. I don't
absolutely.
want that.
Man, amazing, man. Like, I haven't heard you speak in some time, and I gotta say, man, like, to me, just listening to you, it is very obvious that you're doing the work. It's very obvious that, you're not just sober, but you're active in your own recovery, because, nobody's going to do the work for us, like how you just were talking about. And it's just amazing, man. Like your story, all these things you've been through. I mean, I'm so inspired again, listening to you again. I don't think that'll ever go away from me. Like, even if I hear somebody's story, I don't know why. It just, it's very encouraging to me, even though, you're a woman, I'm a man, you're from here, I'm from there. It doesn't matter. I thought the same way you thought. I felt the same things you felt. I wanted the same things you wanted. I wanted love. I wanted acceptance. All these, like, oh, it's so relatable, man.
Mhm.
And it just, man, congratulations, Jen. You
Thank
are,
you.
I mean, it's so amazing how, because I got into this program before you, and I remember when you first came in. You are not the same human being that I met when you first came in. Like, so there's gotta, for everybody listening, there has to be something to what we are literally do the same thing. Me and Jen, we literally do the same thing to stay sober and to keep ourselves in a quote unquote recovered state of mind, you know. So, you know, we must be telling the truth. You know what I'm saying?
There must be something to it, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
you know, one thing, Jen, I mean, I I like just listening to you again and your whole story and everything and all these things and then your recovery, how you know, what was it 2007? You found the rooms at first or nine or it was
it was
back then?
2000. It was, well, yeah, we'll go with 2007.
Oh, okay, yeah,
2007 when I got locked up and went to the meetings that were
right,
brought in by H&I panels, like
yeah,
that would probably be the first real time, but I
okay,
mean, before that I was selling drugs at meetings,
yeah. Oh,
so
I don't care. So that don't really count. Yeah, but like all of that stuff, you being introduced to it, and then years go by, and then you make it back in there, just listening to the words you're saying, the words that are coming out of your mouth. I seen from like what the person you used to be and the person you are now. Like the one word just stands out in my mind that is written all over your life that I see, and that's freedom. Like you're free. You're free from people. That is a
yeah.
huge one. I mean, freedom from the bondage of self. Oh, definitely.
Oh.
But freedom from other people, I experienced the freedom of bondage of self first. Then
Mhm.
the freedom of people came after that. And I gotta say, man, it's just like you said. I forgot exactly how you said it, but it made me think of it. I remember thinking to myself, like I never really used to care about what people thought of me. I used to care about what I thought they thought of me, which is even crazier. As even more crazy thought. And
Right.
whether it's fancy or not, like it's in my head or it's actually true. Like, this process of recovery really, I mean, it pulled the mirror up in my face and really, I really got to see what I look like
Yeah.
really, like not these masks I had on. It slowly
Right.
took off all these different masks that I was wearing to where I could really see myself and I could
Mhm.
accept myself of how I was, and because I had heard hope in other people's stories in my sponsor. And I had a little bit of hope. And they said, that's all you need. That's all you need. I was like, okay, so that's all I had in the beginning. A little bit of hope. I'm thinking, man, if all you guys are telling the truth, I'm going to do whatever you guys say. Because you guys seem to, I mean, I heard how tore up you guys used to be. And like, you're not like that anymore. So I'm like, man, I had nothing left to lose already, honestly. I mean, I was out of everything. I lost my sanity like a decade previously, you know. But it's so, so encouraging and inspiring, for me when I hear, people like you, telling you your story and it just, the fire just, whoosh, just like pouring gasoline on it in me, it just rages up even more. But there's so much, like, I think that was the first time I've heard your story in like very like vivid detail like that too, as well. So, oh, Jen, thank you so much. Oh, now I'm thinking we should have done this earlier.
Oh, I was so nervous. I was still nervous, like coming on, but you're right.
Really?
It sort of
Yeah,
went away.
yeah, and it goes by really quick. Look, it's almost over. Look what time it is. But you know what, Jen? I definitely, because Instagram now you can go. I can be a host and you can go live with three other people. So we got to do some sort of round table thing. Get
That'd
like
be
two guys, two girls, or something. Something like that,
that'd be
and
cool.
just talk recovery, man. Share our experiences that then because it helps other people. Because it's helping me. It has to be able to help somebody else.
Hmm.
So okay, as we are winding down, Jen, I have some questions now I would like to ask. So, the first question is, what is something you learned about yourself in the process of recovery?
Oh,
I know there's a
There's,
lot, but
I
yeah,
know.
I
And
know.
honestly,
No, no
someone's trying
worries.
to call me. I think the
Yeah.
most important the most important thing that I learned about myself was what exactly my character defects are.
Mm,
Um, I think that a lot of the times, because I didn't know how to love myself, my insecurities would influence a lot of the decisions I made. And I think that it was important for me to see a list of my character defects to work on
mhm,
them, and learning that it is important for me to continue to learn how to love myself and to not be
mhm,
afraid to do so. I think that I was taught as a child that it is very selfish of you to love about yourself, like love yourself in a way, almost like it was being rude or something, or you should always put others first. And I think that
mhm,
that idea got so warped in my mind
mm,
that I put up a roadblock on how to love myself. And the
yeah.
ability to love myself has made it possible for me to have freedom. And I think that was the most important lesson, was love yourself
Mhm,
and find out what self-worth looks like to you.
yeah.
And don't base it upon how you think that other people view you, or
Mhm,
you think that they should view you. Base it off of whoever your higher power is. Base it off
mhm,
of what a good person is to look like. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like,
yeah.
I just,
Absolutely.
that was probably the biggest thing for me.
Man, I love that answer, Jen. Man, that was a great answer. Like honestly, like it's so like, man, you just money all day, man. Oh man, this is great. We can go live for another hour now. Oh my goodness, man. And it's not like scripted answers or anything like that. It's not, but like, it's just amazing. Like again, it's obvious. It's obvious you're doing the work. Like it's very, very obvious. Like I can talk with people, but I'm quick not to take somebody's inventory. But people who are exposed the way they think, you just talk to them for 30 seconds. And it's gonna be obvious if they're in recovery or they're just sober or not, in general. Because one thing about that, the character defects, even though I'm over 4 years sober now, one thing that I still tend to struggle with, it'll come from time to time, is control. Is
Oof.
control and patience. Control and patience. Those are my two biggest character defects. That when I humbly offered, God, all my shortcomings. When I went to that seventh step, He didn't go, okay, let me take all of them from you. He left me with a few of them. He said, hey, bro, you work on that. See,
Right.
because I'll do what you can, but that's something you can do. So He left these things for me to work on, and over the years, I did get better. Like I'm not saying I'm always impatient. I'm always want to be in control. See, that was a way of life. It's no longer a way of life, but it'll still, when I allow it, it'll creep its head up. His ugly face will show it again, and everything. But my wife will very quickly put my feet back on the ground. you know. So I'm really thankful. I'm really thankful for her as well. Okay, I like this question. So this next question, Jen, um, is okay. How has being sober and in recovery affected your relationship with your children?
So I'm gonna get real honest real quick, okay? Um, I didn't know how to not be angry,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
And it showed up to my children first before it showed up to anybody else, because I kept trying to prove that I wasn't a shit mom for all the stuff I did to my daughter when I
mhm,
was using meth. And when I got pregnant with my son, I overcompensated with him, and was still trying to learn how to be a mom to both of them at the same time. And I got angry a lot at everybody, but I
mhm.
took it out on my kids. And I did that for a very long time. And the drinking and stuff, like, it kind of excused it, I'm
Mhm.
working hard, I'm doing this, like, it just like it kind
It's
of created a
justified.
fog, right? And I didn't know how it affected them until I got sober, because I had my sponsor ask them, my sponsor at the time had asked my kids what they think of this.
Mhm.
And like the responses were that I'm not angry at them.
Mm.
And I had a conversation with him not too long ago, because I go to meetings a lot, you know, and
Mhm.
I leave the house a lot to go sit with other people, or I do things for my recovery today that takes me out of the home. And I asked him, I said, hey, you know, I'm kind of gone a lot. I hope this isn't affecting you guys. You know, just let me know if it's too much. I'll dial it back. And my
Right.
son looked at me and he said, no, please go,
Mhm.
because the mom you are now, you know, is better. And I'm not sitting here and I'm not angry with him. And I get to be like present and a part of, and because I'm not so consumed with the next drink, and I'm not consumed with going out, and I'm not consumed with all of these other things, I can be consumed by them, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. Like, not in a negative
Yes.
way, but a way in which I can actually be a mom today, and I can be present, and I don't get mad at them and yell at them for no reason. I
Mhm.
get the opportunity to actually show up and like connect.
Right.
I didn't know that that was a possible thing for me. I thought being a mom was being a tyrant, and that's what I did really good for a long time. And now I get to
Mhm.
show up and be there for them. And I think that
Mhm.
it's apparent because my kids want me around. Like, someone actually wants me around. Like, well,
Yeah.
okay, I'll take it.
Man, Jen, you know what? I'm just so happy for you. Oh,
Thank you.
I'm just full of emotions, you know. Um, I mean, with everything, just because, I have, my son, losing my mom, my emotions is kind of all over the place, but what you're saying just really hit me in my heart because of my son, like, like he'll never see me drunk. He'll never see me high. He'll never see me in the bathroom for 8 hours. He'll never see all these things. And if I continue to do what I'm supposed to, he'll never see this stuff. My wife will never have to pack him in the car, go look for me, what bar I'm at, who's with you at this girl with this girl at this hotel, what you doing? You know what I mean? I just think about those things, man. I just think about how happy your children are now that you're sober, in recovery, and how your life is. Like, honestly, your life has changed more from the last time I heard you. I can just it's I can tell just from how you speak. Oh my gosh, and that's why it's a process. You have grown leaps and bounds since I first met you. Uh-huh. People used
I
to say
sure
that
hope
all the.
so.
Yeah, yeah. That's my take on it. From what I remember, Jen, when I first met her, to this Jen right now, oh, unrecognizable. I remember you're super shy too. And
Oh,
everything.
I'm
I mean, you're
still
still kind of shy,
super
but
shy. You know what's weird is, like, nobody outside of the rooms like would describe me as shy. And that's probably because I was super drunk every time I was around
oh,
them, you know what I mean?
right.
They always describe me as a people person, and I'm sitting here and I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, if only you would see me, because now I think what it is that I get to be who I really am, and I'm not afraid if it isn't accepted by anybody else, you know, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be drunk or high to show Jen. I get to be me and authentically be me. And
Yeah.
when that happens and you get to be
Uh-huh.
and I can open up now, and
Yeah.
I can and I can be honest. I see you
Yeah.
guys talking, both of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what?
Charlie
Like,
and Lala, I see you.
yeah, I can relate because like growing up as a kid, like all of my cousins that I look up to, because my brother is 6 years older than me, so he went to another island to go to high school, and then he went off to college to California. So I had all my older cousins that I would look up to, and they all were extroverts. So in my mind, okay, I would looked up to them. I want to be like them. You see, and then I found alcohol and I found drugs, and I thought it made me feel like how I thought they are. I thought it made me an extrovert. See, they didn't need drugs and alcohol to be social, but I did because I was so insecure about my own self and what I think people would want me to be like. Because I'm with my cousins, I gotta be like them. I'm naturally I'm an introvert naturally. I'm very shy and reserved into myself. But drugs and alcohol, that was an instant. I became an instant extrovert. You know how like you see people even to today. We know people like this, where they're very shy. Oh, you give them a couple beers, start drinking. Oh, they ain't shy anymore. And that was me. That was me. Um, so okay, let's see. Next question. Um, okay, what do you do to keep your program of recovery strong?
uh So there's so many different parts of that, you know. I I'm just gonna give you like the generic answer almost is what it feels like is I
Mhm.
have a sponsor who I work with. I
Mhm.
have people in these rooms that I can call if something's going on. I have a book that I can read and get into with another person. I can sit across the table and share my experience, strength, and hope. I
Mhm.
go to meetings. I I used to have service commitments, and I'm going to tell on myself right now. I don't have any right now, and
Mhm.
I probably should get some.
Mhm.
And I'm just active in my recovery. You know, I take it seriously today. But the
Right.
biggest and most important part of my recovery process is that I continue to do the 12 steps that I laid out in the book. And
Mhm.
what that does for me is keeps me connected to my higher power because without him, I have nothing. You know, I have nothing that I there's nothing that I have without that.
Mhm.
And that that's pretty much it, you know, is
Yeah.
that I just stay in contact with my higher power and I do the work that's laid in this book, you know?
Yeah. I know it's very
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
It's not rocket
It's
science. You're not really
it's
rocket science.
it's
You know.
not. You know what a lot like I feel like there's a like sometimes I felt like there was a lot of pressure when I first got into these rooms to like do all of these things and oh my God, like I'm fucking just trying not to drink today. And now you
Yeah.
want me to do all this stuff? And it's,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There is a lot of stuff, but
Mhm.
that a lot of stuff, every time I do a step, regardless of how many times I've done it, how many times I go over it, how many, it doesn't matter, right?
Uh-huh.
First, 15th, whatever it is, every time I do a step, something gets revealed and something changes inside of me. And I wouldn't give up the work for anything in this world.
Right.
I wouldn't. It's simple enough that someone like me can do it and smile and laugh and love today. Someone
Yeah.
like me, you know,
Mhm.
like it's easy. Just come, sit down for a minute, hear what we
Yeah.
have to say, do what we do, and see what
Mhm.
kind of recovery you can have because you don't just have to be sober. You can be
Yeah.
free.
Exactly. Ooh, I'll put that on a shirt now.
You better send me one.
That's a good one. You don't just have to be sober, you can be free. That is a great description of what recovery really is, you know. Because being free from this is just my experience, like recovering from like drinking and drugs. That was a little part of this whole recovery process. It was the smallest blessing to me. Just I mean, although it really kill you, you know what I'm saying? But I don't need drugs and alcohol to destroy my life. I don't. I found that out in the process of working these steps, and I was like,
Crazy,
oh
right?
my goodness. Oh, I mean, that fourth step. Oh, it really showed me who I really was. You know, it just
Yeah.
it was such. I mean, it was like swallowing knives. You know, like I found out, man, I'm not the nice guy I thought I was. And I legitimately thought, yes, I am a nice guy. But when I actually really looked at myself with honesty, I was like, no, bro, no, you're not. Like you are when it serves you. Yeah,
Oof.
you can be, but that doesn't mean you are one. And it was, that first, column of the resentments in that fourth step. I mean, I have gotten so much freedom out of that doing my fourth step, specifically the resentment part. I mean, I was, I stopped cutting myself and blaming the knife already. I could see what my part was on paper, in my own handwriting, and I was free. I was free of me at that point, and it was just, I mean, the ninth step gave me some freedom, but honestly, that one, I felt much more freedom. I don't know how to explain it because my whole life I was a victim. I could point the finger and justify why I'm where I'm at, why I have these circumstances, why this, why that. I always could blame it on somebody else whether it was true or not, it doesn't matter. But my experience showed me, but look, bro, whether it was 1% or 99, you had a part to play in it. And I was like, oh, dang, really? you know?
Man, I like the fourth step for me, like I was so scared to do one, you know what I mean? Like everybody kept talking about how horrible it is. And when I did it, like, yeah, it was kind of weird to like write everything down, you know? I'm thinking like, do I have everything? And I was just like really wanting to be perfect at it. And doing the fourth step allowed for me to get to my favorite steps, which is 6 and 7.
Mhm.
Because when you do your fourth step, and you get through all the columns and you see your part in it, then you get those cute little words at the end that turn into your sixth step, and that opportunity to see your character defects,
Yeah.
right? I got freedom the moment that I realized I was actually powerless and I had a problem. I felt like the freedom was given to me, the freedom to make the choice to take the next step.
Mhm.
And because of these rooms and because of the people in these rooms, I had the opportunity to see what those next steps should be.
Mhm.
And without following along, right, without those next indicated steps, I would have never experienced the ups and downs of doing a fourth, right?
Mhm.
The freedom that comes when you get to the fifth. And then all of that stuff that's on that list for the sixth, like every time I've done a fourth step, that stupid freaking list is exactly the same, because my character defects are always going to be my character defects,
Uh-huh.
and I can work on them constantly, and they don't have to be super present in my life, but they're always going to be there. And this program's giving me the opportunity to work through those.
Right.
Sorry,
Absolutely.
tangent.
Oh man. We're gonna extend this for another hour, Jen. Okay, let's see. Okay, I like this question. So the next question I have for you, Jen, is if you could go back and change something about your life, would you? And if so, what would it be?
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um I've been asked this question a few times throughout my life, and I used to answer like, yeah, of course there is,
Mm-hmm.
like, um but my higher power, right, didn't didn't give me this life that I live so that I could try to take it back.
Mm-hmm.
I went through the things I went through by the choices that I did make, because we do have free will given to us by, at least for me, I have free will given to me by my higher power. Um, but if I didn't walk in the footsteps that I walked in, and I didn't go through my trials and tribulations,
Mm-hmm.
I would I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have a
Yeah.
story to tell. I wouldn't be the Jen you see before you. I wouldn't have showed up to these rooms. I wouldn't have gotten any recovery. I wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
who I am today. And if I'm not who I am today, this whole thing wouldn't be happening. So no, I
Right.
wouldn't take anything back. Everything
Yeah.
I went through had a purpose,
Yep.
regardless of how shitty it was
Uh-huh.
or how
Yeah.
good it was.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's the same exact answer I give people when they ask me that. Because I don't know, there's something about, my life being on the line that will really move me, that will really get me going, and not just that, because I even active in my addiction, I didn't just not want to die. Like I wanted to live, and like live my life and find my purpose and why am I here, and all these every single like kind of like hardship, trial, affliction, everything I did to myself, everything. It was very like, like the majority of it, probably 98% of the hardships in my life I created,
Hmm.
but God made sure, like, he kept me alive, to do what I'm doing today and to help other people that are still struggling. And I really wouldn't change nothing, because all those things, it shaped the person I am, my character, how I treat people, how I think, everything, and not just that, because I'm going to go back to Hawaii for my mom's service next month, and what I'm going to do there while I'm there, because I'll be there for a little bit, I'm going to do some sort of addiction recovery outreach thing in my town. Everybody knows me there. They know who I am. They know what I did. They see me party. They see me go for days. All these people I used to party with. Now, nobody's physically seen me since I've been sober. They see me through social media, but that's it. And I already know when people heard I was sober, I guarantee they didn't believe. They didn't believe it. They didn't, because I was just a maniac. I would go for days, and it's hard. It's a lot harder to go on alcohol and cocaine for days. The meth, that's easier, but cocaine and alcohol, it's a lot more difficult, you know. But I just, the experiences that I have, I can pass on to somebody else now. The way you're carrying the message to me right now. I mean, bro, I'm so motivated and just inspired by listening to you, Jen. Like, you have grown so much, man. Look at this. So much people are writing stuff to you, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, thank you again, for taking the time and being here. But before we wrap this up, Jen, one more question I would like to ask you. What what is something that you would say to encourage the newcomer or somebody that's trying to get sober right now?
I feel like this is always a tough like question, right? What would I say to a newcomer?
Hmm.
Like I hear in the meetings, stay or, keep coming back is what we say when we close out.
Hmm.
And like honestly, the biggest thing that I could say is just try it,
Hmm.
Just come in here and see if there's something that connects with your soul. Because it could be scary making that decision. It was scary for me. If God didn't take those words and spew them out of my mouth to that man that gave me my information for my first meeting,
Hmm.
the member of Alcoholics Anonymous who reached out his hand to me because he saw me desperate and dying, I wouldn't have shown up because my first thought isn't to get help. My first
Hmm.
thought is to go drink again.
Yep.
And so the easiest thing would be, hey, try this out. The the only way that I'm going to be able to share the message is if I go out there and say something, like something like this where I'm out of my comfort zone and
Hmm.
all these people are on here and I'm just talking about what I've been through and my experience and how it's saving my life.
Hmm.
I think for the newcomer, just come with me and see if this will work for you too because it's
Hmm.
working in my life.
Yeah.
And if you're not done, you're not done.
Hmm.
But if you are and you want some freedom and you want to learn how to love yourself and you want to
Yeah.
learn how to love your life again, this is what worked for me and this is how I'm doing it. Come check it out.
Yeah, absolutely, Jen. Oh, man, it takes what it takes. Exactly. Like
Mhm.
I love the way you just put it though there, because it does. Because people will say, um, like, oh man, that guy, he just don't have enough willpower. It really comes down to not necessarily willpower. It comes down to, is that person ready or not? That's it. You tore up enough, you beat up enough. No, okay. We'll be here though. We leave the door open for you. Nobody, nobody. We cannot argue people into recovery. It's not that never will. That is not effective at all. It's not gonna work at all. We might stick for a second. Like a family member would, to make somebody go to rehab or whatever. I mean, for the time being, it might, but long-term recovery and staying sober, one day at a time, is very ineffective. I found so far, but Jen, this has been wonderful. You said something just about your encouragement to the newcomer. Just try it. This lady that was live with me last week. Um, I've never heard somebody say this before, but for some reason, it really got my attention. At the end, when I asked her the same question, so she said, before you, I forgot exactly. I got to go back and watch it, but she said something like, you know, um, like before you kind of trust your own mind, go talk to somebody that has done the work and things like that. And I forgot exactly how she put it, but I remember that stuck out to me when she said that last week, and it just reminded me when you were sharing, what you would say to encourage a newcomer. So Jen, I like to thank you again. Hey, we gotta do this again. I mean, I'm filling up my schedule now for next month. I got, well, somebody next week though already, but the rest of the month I'm filling it up. You know, I'll call Ty. We can get Ty on here too. I tried to get her once and then she got called into work. So I was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay. Um, and we can do something like this because these things is good. Like, and it's helpful for other people. Like, hey, you'd be amazed the kind of response you get from people you don't even know that it's helping them. Like, oh my gosh, like I just, God just was like, okay, go do this, and I was like, okay, and like, I'm just being obedient, like, because my way wasn't working. I had to do it somebody else's way, and it's amazing, man, the response of people that I get. That, man, you had so and so on, and it was very helpful, and da, 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 da. All these things, man. It's just, I just got really good at taking suggestion and following directions. I got good at that today. I was terrible at it. I was good at giving directions. Oh, but that's it. But Jen, man, thank you so much. I really appreciate this, man. You have such an amazing story. It really touched my heart. I don't know if it's because I'm going through with my mom, but I just heard it in a different way. And you are literally a different human being from when I first met you. Oh my gosh. I mean, you got the message and you're doing the work, and that is so exciting for me to see in other people. You know, oh, my goodness. But yeah,
Finally learning to get out of my own way,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Like I had to learn that too. That was a bit of a struggle, in the beginning. But I'll call you and we can talk about doing some sort of round table with we can think of some other people that want to come on and stuff like that. But again,
Perfect.
Jen, thank you so much. I'll call you after all this is over and talk some more.
All right. Thank you so
Charlie
much for having
B,
me.
what's up, bro? Sorry, I couldn't say hi to everybody as it's going on because I lose my train of thought. I don't pay attention to all this stuff.
I've like every time I look down, I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to read it. So thank you for you guys that came on and stuff. I hope you had a good time.
Oh, I sure did, girl. I did. I want to keep this forever. I mean, I'm so glad. I'm gonna post this as soon as it's over.
Okay.
Amazing, Jen. Amazing. But thank you again. I'll speak to you soon.
All right. Talk to you
Okay.
soon.
Bye
Have a good
bye.
one. Bye.
Okay, guys. So that was Jen's story. Thank you guys so much again for the continued love and support in this time. You know, I still kind of feel like a wounded animal being got to be nursed back to health. My mom's passing, but doing things like this is very helpful. For me to kind of get out of myself and not stay in myself. And I feel bad. I don't want to do nothing. Da, da, da. Because one thing recovery taught me, or not really taught me, something I learned in the process was, I am the problem. So, I gotta stay out of self. It really is very, very helpful. So just to mention to you guys again, starting next month. I will only be going live on Saturdays, but I'm going to be going live with two people instead of just one. So it's going to be at 12 at noon and at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Again, check out our website. If any of this is helpful for you guys, on the website at prorecoverypower.com, on the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little symbol there. It's like a pencil. That is a survey slash questionnaire. If you guys would be so kind to please fill that out, if this has been helpful to you in any way, we really would appreciate that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. So tomorrow I get Martin coming up. Oh, this guy get amazing stories to tell. I mean, 3 suicide attempts and he's still here. Amazing. So to hear the rest of it, tune in tomorrow, guys. We'll be going live at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you guys so much again for all the continued love and support. I really appreciate it, and I love you guys so much. See you guys tomorrow.